Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, and let me honor the Minister, Honorable President 15million, Minister of Tourism and the Spirit Industry, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Chitepo, Mr. Tich Wungweri, the captains of industries here present, all business operators, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Let me thank the Ministry for inviting us to come and say a few words about what you have got in store for the industry and how we look at you and what you think you should do as an economy. I'm excited to be here, but I'm going to be here for a very few minutes. Time has got jealous, but having said so, let me say that the industry, the tourism sector, is a very important sector in Zimbabwe, first and foremost. So why are we here? We have come here, and I've come here to challenge you as a sector to produce and to increase foreign exchange receipts. We want you, I've come here to challenge you to be competitive in this environment through partnerships between the banks, the Reserve Bank, and the players yourselves. How? I shall say those few words, how we do believe that you are very important. Why it is very important in tourism is that you are exporting companies, you are an exporting sector. You export services, tourism services to visitors. So instead of you exporting goods out of Zimbabwe, you are exporting services to people who are coming to Zimbabwe, to visitors. So it should be similar because you are exporting what you know, as opposed to export something that has got a very high quality competitiveness. If you talk about a match 2P or sugar beans, for example, quality. It's easy. It's not easy to export that type of product because there is competitiveness in terms of quality. Now you are exporting to visitors what you have got, so you should have more money than others who are exporting hard products. So you obviously export non-consumptive tourism, which is your hotels and accommodation. You also consumptive tourism, which is your hunting, safaris, and food. So people should come to Zimbabwe, just come and get food for Zimbabwe. Come and get our madoras in Zimbabwe. That's exporting. That which they don't find in America, that they don't find in China. So let's export as much as possible. So a very important sector. You are now contributing to 11% of GDP. It used to be 14% in 2019. Minister, I want to challenge the sector to grow to around 20% in the medium term. That is doable. Where there's will, there's way. And I do believe that you can do it. Right now, 11% of GDP, you can go to 20% in medium term. Foreign exchange generation, by 2016, you were $177 million in the whole year. It was about 6% of total exports processed in Zimbabwe. This year, our figures, preliminary figures, show that you are about $151 million in 2017, with about 5% of export receipts. Of export receipts. But when you talk about the total export receipts, so total foreign exchange receipts into Zimbabwe, you are 2.7% of total foreign exchange receipts into Zimbabwe. So we need also to have benchmarks. I'm saying this because the sector said that you are also working towards the 100-day plan. I think we need to have a smart objective, strategies that can push through this economy. In 2017, our total foreign exchange receipts for this economy were $5.5 billion. That's what this economy earned as an economy from exports, from diaspora remittances, from international remittances, from loan proceeds, $5.5 billion as we closed the year 2017. That's a lot of money. And that's a growth from $5.3 billion in 2016 So which means that this economy, foreign exchange receipts went up by $200 billion, 2070. So, but people are always saying there's a shortage of foreign currency in Zimbabwe. Become a paradox. This is more than Honorable Chinamasa's budget, what we've earned as an economy in terms of foreign exchange. But it's utilization, because when you now use the foreign currency also as a domestic currency, it means that the demand becomes even higher. If we're using foreign exchange for purposes of paying for foreign payments, then you can use foreign currency in a productive and efficient manner. But we also use it ourselves as a domestic currency. Nothing wrong about it. So it means when you're using domestic currency, you need to use more of plastic money, so as not to put too much pressure on what you've earned, which will be used for foreign payments. That's the, but that is a talk for another day. Today I want to concentrate myself on tourism. So, Honorable Minister, in the sector of English, I also want to challenge you to aim to contribute around 10% of foreign exchange receipts by year end. You are at 4%, we are 5%. We are saying let's double that. If the economy earned 5.5 billion in 2017, you need to earn $500 million this year. How? We have come here, that would share with you on the how aspect. As a bank, we do believe and have a passion. Our passion is very clear. It's for enhancing production in Zimbabwe. Our passion is to increase productivity in Zimbabwe. Our passion is to increase foreign exchange receipts in Zimbabwe, which is our exports. That's our passion. The backdrop, or if you want, the backdrop of any economy in the world is money. The backdrop of any economy in the world is money. And the money comes from production. So you can say the backdrop of the economy of money is production. The backdrop of money is production. When there's no production, there's no money. This is why we measure GDP, the gross national income. We use gross domestic product. What have you produced yourself to make money? Now in Zimbabwe, we sometimes want to start with the money and get to production. I think we need production to get money. You need to sell a service. This is why we've got too many people who are rent-seeking behavior. If you have a rent-seeking behavior, it shows that we are in a wrong state of our minds. We need to ensure that we increase production. So, because the money is defended, it's rocked, is cemented by production, we need to increase production. So, while we've identified opportunities in this country, that let us use the idle RTGS balances at the banks to produce goods and services. It's a strategy to mop out the excess money in the economy, to put it in for productive uses, and then by so doing we increase production and increase exportables, and by so doing the economy goes up. We have too much money in this country in terms of RTGSs. That's what we measure liquidity. Don't measure liquidity by the money that you withdraw from a bank. That's cash withdrawals. Liquidity is amount of money in the bank which is idle, that can be used. That money is there. And that is money, minister, that you want to use for purpose of providing to the industry. You buy more of your bed sheeting, you buy more of, you improve your hotels, you improve your areas where safari, and then more people come to see things that are much better. Instead of still, I went to some of the hotels, minister. The bed that I slept, I don't tell you which hotel. All the beds, all the sheets, I think they're not being changed because they were smelling cigarettes. I don't smoke myself. So such things, you need to, therefore, what happens? If you change your bedding, if you change your blankets, it means the weaver blankets in Zimbabwe will also increase their production. It means that Zimspin will also produce more fabrics. It means that people are going to cook more food, and therefore industry then generating events. That's what we are looking for. That's production. And that's my passion. to ensure that this economy produces more goods and services, which is also the national strategy is expounded and elaborated by His Excellency President J Mangudya. We are looking for production in this economy. We are looking for export in this economy. And therefore, Minister, what we've provided, that it's one thing you use. We are saying if you want to use them, other sectors have used them. We've put in place a number of facilities in place for the industry to use. Chief among them is your gold finance facility. The gold has been utilized to our satisfaction. We put around 20 million initially. We increased after 6 months to 40. Now we are at $100 million for the gold production facility. We put initially amount of $15 million for the tourism sector, your development sector. That amount of money, the $50 million, hasn't been taken up by yourselves. Maybe because of due to poor marketing on our side, or because that people don't know about it, or that because it's not required. I challenged Teach in my office and his team and this permanent secretary Dr. Tepo last week and the week before that this amount is there. If a gold producer, a small scale gold producer, can take the money to use it, why can't the people whom I see and know who are look at me right now? I know you guys very well. Why can't you take money out of that? We've gone to industry. Horticulture is using it. Yourselves, you've been very quiet. So the money is there. And you can increase it due to demand from yourself. So it's a demand-driven facility. If you use all of it today, 15, tomorrow make it under 15. If you take the whole 15, tomorrow we make it under 30 or 1500. We just put initial capital to see people taking it and then go forward. So what are the terms? Terms are very simple, straightforward. Interest rate, we've considered tourism to be an exporting sector. So we put those facilities at 7.5% per annum, not per month. This is not Zimbabwe. 7.5% per annum, that's the interest which is low. I very many people say that our interests country are high. They are not. If you compare with all other countries in the region and in Africa, in Nigeria or in Egypt, which are the biggest economies in this country now, including South Africa, they are around 12 to 15%. Elsewhere it's 20%. So here we are talking about interest rate of 7.5%. The tenure for working capital is 12 months. For capital expenditure between around 3 years. And if it is so required, we can extend to 5 years, but 3 years standard. In that, the money is accessed through banks. This way it may be a challenge. Some of the banks don't believe in the facilities which are put in place. And that's the truth of the matter. I don't run the banks, I supervise banks. So you need to talk to your banks, those ones who are like-minded group of producing more goods in Zimbabwe, of promoting you in Zimbabwe. Others have got a perception that they rather keep the money in their coffers until the rates have come take the money. Our job is to ensure that we take that money, put it in the industry. So the money is there. And we go through your banks, you do your business proposals, go to the bank, and then the banks, they come to us from the funds to provide the funding. As simple as that. And the money is there. And these facilities, Honorable Minister, we've seen for other sectors. I don't see why it should not be able to be used by the tourism sector. Let's start it. The test of the put is in the eating. Let's just start. What are we trying to do? We are trying to utilize RTGS balances to sweat them, create value, which value will bring foreign currency, which foreign currency you also need tomorrow. In some of these funds, when you go through the bank, if there's a foreign exchange component, we also provide the required foreign currency to ensure that at least for some of the things that might need to be imported, also provide that portion so as to match with what you want to do. So that one is available. And therefore, we don't want people to complain. And how do you go about it? We say it maybe you want to utilize either the ZTA or the Zimbabwe Tourism Council, the private sector, whichever way. It's also good to be registered so to also get more benefits and know what is happening. Therefore, I know that the TEACH organization might represent bigger companies, but the ZTA is here, ICGT is here. This facility is there for you. On the competitiveness area, we have put in place a national competitive strategy to reduce costs in Zimbabwe through the Export Incentive Scheme. The Export Incentive Scheme is a national competitive strategy to reduce costs. Because what it has is that it reduces your costs of accommodation. It reduces the costs of doing business in Zimbabwe. How? If a hotel room is $200, and for you to be competitive, it's $180. It means that if you provide you with a 10% export incentive, 10% of 200 is 20. 200 minus 20 becomes 180. And therefore you become competitive in this country. But I've seen television reports, media reports, you colleagues of mine in Zimbabwe complain that no, we cannot compete with the market because our prices are high. But we are providing the export incentive scheme. Use it for reducing your costs, you increase your volume, and your business goes on. But what are you doing? Alas, what are you doing, Minister? What the sector and others are doing in Zimbabwe is to utilize the export incentive scheme to increase their profits. So where a hotel is $200, instead of reducing it to 180, you now calculate 10% of 200 is 20. You're now getting 220 yourself. And you think your business can grow. Myself, I run my own small tuck shops. I don't do that. You run your big businesses, you do that. That's the Zimbabwean mentality of increasing costs. The export incentive scheme is a national internal devaluation strategy. How do you reduce your costs in foreign currency? If you give you that export incentive, you are reducing your costs. Then you hear people say that no, our cost number is very high. I think let's avoid these songs from hymns of seeing ourselves as a country that is very expensive. We've put in place those national programs, national strategies to reduce the cost. So it means that as a team, tourism team, you need to come up and say, what should be our export incentive threshold if you want to be competitive in Zimbabwe? None of you have ever come to offices. Or now go to a company like Triggers, a company like Dairy Board, a company like Nestle. They will tell me that Reserve Bank, for us to be competitive in the field or in the market of called Zambia, we need 12.5%. Tobacco producers, they've come to us. That 5% that you gave us last year, we think we can do better with the 12.5%. This is why the crop of tobacco has gone up. Because at this 12.5, when they sell, they get 12.5. They compete. Because costs have been going up, therefore they are going to be competitive. But the industry called tourism, which is a low-hanging fruit, they've been very quiet. Silence means two things. Either you are content, which means you are satisfied, or that you don't know what is available, or that you need assistance. And I thought today I'll come here to say a few words of trying to assist this industry that I love so much. I see that there is South African Airways, there's British Airways here, and there's, you know, that's part of tourism, because they bring the tourists to Zimbabwe. We've opened Vic Falls, a nice airport, and I hear that they're going to upgrade the Harare airport. This is how tourism are brought into Zimbabwe. And that's good business. So ours is to make sure at those points they come, they are given good products in Zimbabwe. They are given good buildings in Zimbabwe. So this industry, Minister, is a very good industry. And I've got a passion for it, I love it, but the people they are a bit quiet, they are more reserved about the position. Now in this new era, new dispensation, let's hold each other's hand and go forward to our business. Many people are going to come to Zimbabwe, they love to come and see hotels, they come to stay in hotels, develop them, improve them, facelift them, put all the products that they require. And some of us also be happier to be domestic tourism. And you go to Nyanga, you go to Vic Falls, which is a good sale. You go to see the animals. No more Cecil, but I think there's someone else now. So we need to ensure that we enjoy Zimbabwe. So, Minister, I want to challenge you. Our motto, a mantra in the bank, is to produce more. So that if you produce more, you increase fiscal space, you increase taxes, you increase exports, you increase employment, you increase welfare for Zimbabweans. Therefore, the answer to our Zimbabwean solution to the challenges that we are facing, it's not about the currency, it's about the production to support the currency. Now you think the opposite, that currency will support production. No ways. You go and work, you bring more money, so the currency will become very stable. I want to thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much.